Hey y'all, and welcome to week 2 of the Phenomenal Brand Accelerator. We're covering mood and messaging today. So we're going to be talking about mood boards, color palettes, and typography, and the messages that they all send off. Let's get started. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is just a quick word association game. I just want you to think of these words and just write down, take a second, write down, pause me, write down the first couple words that come to mind. All right, you ready? Good, let's go. Okay, so after you got that, I'm going to show you all this brand that I'm working on. This is for Tipples Confectionery. It is an adult luxury confectionery based in Atlanta, designed to enhance consumer confidence and to provide oasis to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday lives, while also remaining an aesthetic source of inspiration for those who are feeling creatively drained. The brand vision aims to not only create a welcoming and warm experience for those that consume the treat, but to also take a stand and behave as an ethical and inclusive space for all that need it. With Tipples, anyone over the age of 21 can be an it girl. So when we created the brand board for Tipples, right? Or when I created the brand board for Tipples, I took everything that we had talked about in that and built in that statement. And I wanted to make sure that all of the visual elements, when I think like bakery and I think luxury and I think playful, I wanted to make sure that all of those elements were included in. So of course we had baked goods, and I knew that because we were going luxury and femme, that I wanted to include pinks, and because it's a Black woman-owned business, I wanted to include Black girls in luxury, and I wanted the Jacquemus dress, and we had like the cute cupcakes and the girls on the beach and the like shopping bags and all of those, and of course the shot glass, but it's like the luxury shot glass. All of those play into this overall aesthetic. So all of those first images that you think of when you were writing down those words, and when you think about the words that are associated with your brand, those first images that pop into your head are the type of images that you need to start pulling. From there, of course, we'll talk a little bit later about color, but then I built a color palette off of that. And the mood board is the basis for everything, right? So I just want you to look over this and think about all those words we described in that last slide and this brand statement, and how perfectly her mood board then fits in with that aesthetic. And what happens from there is then you start building out your visual elements, like your content and your graphics and your packaging and your logos. And so when I went to make her logo, I knew, okay, I want to use like a clean, modern, luxury typeface. But because I still want to keep it playful, we're going to use these bright, playful colors. But we're also going to use a script. We're going to have the script kind of wrapping through the other letters, because that reads is super playful. And I wanted to make sure that her brand read as playful as she wanted it to be. So mood matters for a couple reasons. One, it's the first step in your visual associations, right? So when you start thinking about the visual parts of your brand, all we've had thus far from week 1 is just text and words. Your mood board is your first step in putting visuals to that words. You have to intentionally transition your brand. You can't just go from words to logos and graphics and content. You want to make sure you're being intentional in that transition. By creating a mood board, it gives you another step that you can always reference back to. Another reason, they serve for easy ideal representation when communicating with your brand to other people, or communicating your brand to other people. You want to make sure that team members and photographers and designers, it allows you to communicate easily with them, because all you have to do is show them images. So all I have to do is pull up a mood board, especially when we're doing like shoot planning, like for photo shoots for websites or like content shoots. Here's this mood board. This is the exact, there's no room for any confusion, because I have visually shown you the exact thing. Luxury can mean different things to different people. So I want to make sure you can see the exact same images that I'm seeing, so we know exactly what type of vibe we want to create with our content. And it allows you to set the overall tone for your brand. All of your visual elements will come from your mood board, from your color palette to everything else. It'll all come from your mood board. I'll show you a little bit later how to pull exact colors from your mood board. But because I knew I wanted that luxury, not luxury style, that's how we picked fonts and how we picked styles. Everything comes from your mood board. So do not skip that step. When it comes to getting images from your mood boards, I use a couple different sources. First being Pinterest. It's easy to just go in, search like whatever the vibe is, search like home or aesthetic or warmth or happy. And you can see tons of images and start using that to kind of like collect in your head what you want to do. Unsplash and Pexels are great for getting royalty-free stock photos that all you have to do is attribute if you choose to publish them, but just free stock photos to use. And then Nappy.co is stock photos that focus on Black and brown faces and filling the gaps that other websites don't. A lot of other websites do not include Black and brown people in their stock photos. Nappy.co specializes in getting Black and brown stock photos out there. So those are the sites that I use to then source all of the images that I use for my mood boards for my clients. So we're gonna search home, aesthetic. And then you can see like all of these different home aesthetics and you can just kind of scroll through until you start seeing images you like. So say you were super into like this kind of like high rise style or like luxury, or I really like this library. So once you go in here, what they'll do is they'll pull more like lists and it'll start pulling other images that are similar, one in SEO and in style, names you chose, and then there are just countless images to pull from and countless styles to choose from. And that's just kind of how you do it. I see somebody else put in hype piece. As you search hype piece, it starts pulling all these images up. So if you see one image that you like, you just then kind of click and it'll lead you into other ones down here. And then I just kind of start building boards around that and around that style.